Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Her Podcast featuring the one and only Miss Sydney Wright.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. How you doing, girl?
I'm good. I'm alive. I'm well, blessed. Experiencing Thanksgiving at home this season, so that's new, but it was nice. It was good to be around some family.
I know that's right. Like, yes. Home is where the heart is, right?
Home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is. So it was good.
That's good. So let's get it started. So, Miss Sydney, can you tell us your sports story to how you got to where you are?
Yes. So I am a professional basketball player currently, in between contracts, hence why I'm at home experiencing Thanksgiving at the crib. But I started playing basketball kind of late. I was 10. Um, I grew up in a basketball household. My dad coached professional basketball overseas for over 20 years. So basketball was always around. But I didn't start playing competitively until I was 10. And I just fell in love with it from a young age. I didn't want to try any other sports, didn't want to try any other hobbies, was always strictly basketball, basketball, basketball. Um, and honestly, it is still one of the only things that captivates all of my attention. Now, obviously, I'm older and having to, do regular life stuff, but basketball is the only thing that really, gets me going. So I, uh, we lived in Australia for a long time because of my dad's job. And so I grew up moving around a lot. Um, and ended up doing all of my high school basketball in Australia, which was tough, but also taught me a whole different side of the game, just a different perspective, different culture, um, different style of play. And fortunately enough, I was able to earn a scholarship to go play at Utah Valley. So I did my first 2 years at Utah Valley, went through the COVID year, decided to transfer, ended up going to JUCO at Eastern Arizona, Division I JUCO in a small town called Thatcher. And then did my last 2 years at Western New Mexico University under Coach Josh Pace. Had probably my best 2 years of college basketball. And from there, I went and was able to go back to Australia for my first pro year. I played in Rockhampton, which is a small town in northern Queensland. We ended up winning the championship. So,
Hey.
yeah, hey, that was fun. Um, Went to Serbia after that. Did 8 months in Serbia. Tough, but an experience I would not change for anything. Um, and then I went back to Australia, played another season of basketball there. Wasn't the best season, but it was, again, learning experience, fun, and just glad that I had the opportunity to keep playing. So now I'm back home.
Woo, girl, I've heard Serbia, I've heard a lot of things about Serbia, like especially like a lot of people that go there, like that I knew that played overseas, and then
Hmm.
I've heard like the crazy rival, big rival in Serbia, the two teams in
The
Serbia.
Partizan and Red Star. You're
Yes,
either one or the other. You cannot be both, and you better choose wisely because they are serious about that. They do not play. You're born into it.
yeah, because it's like I've heard stories how it gets crazy in those the games between them, the fans. I'm just like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. I was lucky enough to go to a couple Red Star games, and the crowd is we haven't seen nothing like it. Like we think college basketball crowds are crazy or NBA crowds are crazy. Nothing beats those EuroLeague crowds, especially if it's Partizan versus Red Star. That's the next level.
Because I saw clips of it. I'm like, yo, they literally lighting up fires and throwing
Let's
things. I'm just
going
like,
crazy.
and it's crazy because like there got to be some players like, man, as much as I love the game, I don't want to get things thrown at me. Like, let me just
Right.
go home at this
Let
point.
me just go home because it's still a game. They yeah, they be in there singing and chanting, and like, to me, I was just like, how do they, I mean, they would just midway through the game all start chanting the same song. And I'm like, who is directing the crowd to where everyone knows when to sing the same song and they all be on the same page the whole game? They don't stop.
That's crazy. I was so, and it leads to me. My question is, what would you say are some of the misconceptions of overseas basketball competition?
Mm. Um, the biggest misconception, I think, especially more so on the women's side, is just the glamorous lifestyle that everyone assumes it is. Of course, it can be that way once you get to a certain level, but for most of us, it's not that. Most of us are, don't have cars or walking everywhere. Like, I used to have to walk to the grocery store, walk to my games, walk to practice. Walk, like, you're not in a car. You're making not very much money. We didn't have an athletic trainer, so any type of treatment or medical attention that you may need playing professional basketball, you're not getting it. Um, so I would say that's one misconception. Just, it's not all glamorous. It's not, you know, how some people make it seem to be. Um, and I would say just your role and position on your team can be different. A lot of the times people think, okay, you're an American or wherever, and you're coming over to play and you're supposed to be the best player on the team, which is true in some instances, but in some other instances you might be coming over to play a role where you're, just a 10-minute player or 15-minute player. And with professional basketball, at the end of the day, they're paying you to do a specific job or play a specific role. And so you have to just do that job, and it might change from year to year. Some teams you might be the man, some teams you might be the sixth man. So it's not all just coming over to be, quote unquote, the superhero of your team. It looks different all the time. So
For sure, because when I was a kid, I had dreams of playing overseas. Like I really
mhm.
wanted to play. Like I didn't want to. I know that sounds weird, like playing overseas over like playing in WNBA, because like it's nice and cool, but like they don't. They're not paying the players in the W
Yeah.
that much, and as
Yeah.
much as so like plus overseas, like you get treated. I used to hear like you get treated more like royalty and all this stuff, and they love their players that come. So it's like, but like I think, and but like teacher, but I would still love to go like overseas for basketball for like say designing and content creation. So,
Yeah.
but it's so hard to find like the jobs there. Like trying to find a job, like looking at the. I'm just like, who do I need to talk
Who do
to?
I call? Who do I call? Yeah, it is, there is a lot of, I guess, benefits or plus sides to playing overseas that I guess maybe a lot of us take for granted. I try not to, but just the sense of traveling and experiencing a different culture, and, not having to pay bills or not having to, you're going to live in another country for free to do what you've worked so hard to do. So they and people, the community, they do treat you like royalty. They do love you. No matter whether the community is small or big, they still see you as, you know, a hot commodity coming into play. So um it is, I definitely understand. wanting to go play overseas and travel and see different stuff while, you're young, or you have for me, like, I don't have too many other responsibilities other than myself. And so fortunately, if I want to go pick up and move across the world and go play in Germany, I can do that. And that's the fun part about it. That's the exciting part.
Because, like, I just honestly, the overseas competition, I really like it a lot more better than, say, the American basketball, preferably, just because, like, it's like, it's rough. And it's
It's
like,
different.
yes. And it's like, you know, I like the competitive spirit. I'm not a big fan of, like, say, like the hand checks and
Hmm. Hmm.
like basketball these days. It's like, dang, you can't even play hard defense anymore without. I'm
Foul.
just like, what?
Foul.
Like, so my
Yeah.
question is for you, like, when you moved from Australia to the United States for college, would you say
Hmm.
there was like a culture shock in a way in both, like, in the sport and in just everyday life?
Um, yes, but maybe for different reasons than what you would assume. I definitely think there was some shock just being a freshman coming into a collegiate program. The same shock that most freshmen experience. Um, but in terms of off the court, I was living in Utah, which is a very particular community, and I had not experienced anything like that before. So I was very used to American culture, and being born in Texas and living all around America and all that type of stuff. So that wasn't really a shock to me, but being in Utah specifically was difficult. Um, Again, learning. I have some of my best friends to this day I met in Utah, and I'm so thankful that I was able to cross paths with them when I did. But there was definitely some shock being there, definitely. But now I know how to navigate in those spaces, so it works out.
Because I will say one thing that people don't know, but I think a lot of people take it for granted, but sports is really a powerful tool where you're able to make connections, but also form like a sisterhood or a family
Mhm.
in the long run.
Mhm. Absolutely. I want to say almost all of my closest friends I met through basketball. And, you know, sometimes it's hard because it's like we're all in different places at different times. Um, but again, I have friends all over the world, and they're all doing great things. And without us being teammates, I wouldn't know them. So it is a powerful, powerful tool to make connections.
Absolutely, because man, because I was like,
It's
dang, it's just like it's like sometimes you be like, I ain't seen you in a while, and then you catch up like, oh, we just catch up. What's going on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And honestly, it's hard making friends. I've had to learn this recently, the past few months, not being on a team. I'm like, I don't have any friends. Like, what, like, where am I supposed to go? Who am I supposed to call? Because I'm just so used to being with my teammates all the time. And so the last few months, I like really had to learn how to socialize and make friends from scratch at 24 years old. So I was like, dang, I guess I've just always been friends with my teammates, but it is cool for that. I love that about sports.
Would you say, like, during the time right now, you mentioned you're used to being a team and teammates. Would you say, like, the adjustment is kind of like in ways difficult, like from, being on the team to like the outside world, like the mini adjustment, would you say is in ways difficult because you're so used to like being around the sport all your life and it's like,
Hmm.
what do I do now?
Yeah, it is a challenge that I honestly deal with day by day. I am getting better with it. Um, I'm by no means done playing. I'm praying for a contract and hope it lands in my lap every day. Um, but it is hard. This is the first time ever in my life that I have not been playing when it's time to play. And so seeing everyone go overseas, or my friends going overseas, or college basketball starting and the NBA starting, I'm just like, dang, everybody's playing but me. So it's hard. I still work out every day, twice a day, and making sure that I'm ready for when the opportunity does come. But it has been challenging. I have been relying a lot on my family, faith, my friends to just make sure I'm in good spirits and that my head is where it needs to be. But I think it's something that we don't talk enough about as professional athletes. Like, what do you do when you're in between jobs? What do you do when you're at home for 3 4 5 months waiting on a call? Like, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay focused? Like, it's tough. It's been tough.
That you make a great point because that doesn't get talked about enough. Like the adjustment of, that period where you might be, in search of a new team, and now you're
Mhm.
like the outside world living in like say a day by day that like so like the day by day like they say a regular
A
person that
regular, yeah, yeah. Um, because honestly, it is something that most professional athletes go through at some point where they're waiting for a call. Um, of course, there's a few where they always got a job lined up, and that's a blessing. But for most people, there's a time where they're like, "Oh shit, I don't know where I'm gonna go, or I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't know when, my agent's gonna give me this job." Da 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 da. Um, and you might be trying to make ends meet. You gotta be home for 3 4 months. I was here for I think the first month, and I wasn't working, and as time was going on, I was like, oh, like I need a job. I need some money. Like I'm still here, so I need to have some type of income. So yeah, I definitely think it's something that we should talk about more. Because it's one of those misconceptions also. Everybody just assumes, oh, you're a pro athlete, like you're good. Like, no, I need a job. I need some dollars to my name.
so and this leads to my question of like say with the growth of women's sports because it has been growing like
Mhm.
crazy. So
Mhm.
for you, what's it like to see the growth of women's sports, particularly women's basketball?
I love it. I love it. It is like the respect, even if it doesn't come to you directly, the respect that women are starting to receive for playing this game is like amazing. I'm so happy that we're finally at this point. I hope it continues to grow. I think it will. Um, because I've been watching women's basketball my whole life. So I knew these girls could hoop. I knew it, but it was like always having to try and prove a point just to break that barrier. And now it's starting to be broken. And people are like, oh man, like, I know guys that are now turning on the WNBA game or turning on women's college basketball. Whereas 10 years ago, you would have to pay a grown man to watch women's college basketball. They just weren't doing it. It just wasn't interesting. And now these girls are selling out arenas, making millions of dollars, all over ESPN, all over Sports Illustrated, all over everything, commercials, um, just as much as men to some extent. And so it's really, really cool to see. It makes it more enjoyable as someone like me who grew up predominantly around male hoopers. All of our conversations were centered around male basketball players. And I always had to grow up saying, okay, who will I model my game afterwards? And it was always a man because, like, female hoopers just weren't. in the spotlight like that. Now you can say, okay, I want to hoop like Kelsey Plum, or I want to hoop like Kelsey Mitchell, or whoever. Like there's more female role models, I guess, and it's really cool to see. I'm so glad.
This is the first time I heard someone mention both Kelsey Plum, and Kelsey Mitchell on the podcast. And I was
They're
like,
both so tough. They are
yes,
so tough.
they're both dogs, as
They're both dogs.
plum dog, as they say, plum dog. So
They are dogs. Watching Kelsey Mitchell in that finals, I was like, give this girl her money, okay? She is hooping. Give her that check.
when she was in Ohio State and like just was darn near second all time leading scorer for college, I was like, dang, like, hey, it especially like it's especially that time period in college these days is so different how it is
Mhm.
versus like growing up, like the transfer portal, like if you
Mhm.
back in the day when you transferred that 1 year back when I was on a college team but managing, you had to sit out a year
Yeah.
and redshirt. And then
Yeah.
after that, the rest of it is there. But like when COVID hit, everybody got their year back, or some people transferred and they got like their year back.
Mhm.
Like there's a couple people in college basketball right now that are in like their 8th year of college.
Yeah.
Multiple times they either transferred for whatever reason or they were injured. That's the thing. Another thing that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to the transfer, like what would you say from your experience of transferring? What would you say is the misconception about transferring?
Um, I I would say in general, a misconception about transferring is the grass isn't always greener on the other side. However, my personal experience, I needed to get out of the situation I was in. And if looking back at it now, if I had not left Utah Valley when I did, I would not still be playing basketball at all. And so, looking at it going from Division 1 to JUCO to Division 2, a lot of people be like, "Oh man, like you kind of fell off." There's nobody could tell me that I fell off from because of that situation. Uh yeah, I needed to get out. And so it is a situation where you got to bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um you got to be willing to deal with whatever's given to you. You might not get the looks or the offers that you thought you were going to get. I didn't have to sit out because of COVID and the rule change, thankfully, but the transfer portal is a scary place. If you can stay in your situation, stay in it. I don't really understand transferring just for the sake of transferring. I guess now there's money involved to where that's a big decision for some people where they're like, well, hey, I can go over here and make a mill, so I'm a transfer. I understand that. That's different. But for most people, I would just say, the grass is not always greener on the other side. If there's a situation where you feel like you can work through it. Because that's gonna teach you a lot, not just in basketball, but afterwards in regular life. So yeah.
Definitely, because man, so many people transfer for different reasons, and I know like
Mhm.
some people definitely transfer for they want to be closer to home to be with family. Like
Mhm.
say maybe a family member is sick, so they want to be closer to there so they can see them. Or some people transfer for say mental health reasons because the environment they were in it didn't
Mhm.
wasn't good for them or something
Yeah.
else. So, and this leads to my question about I always say that athletes are humans first.
Mhm.
How important is mental health to you as a Black woman and an athlete?
Super. It is. Oh, I would say I probably didn't understand how important it was until my second year at Utah Valley. Um, my first 2 years of college, I was going through it. I was depressed probably before. At the time, I probably didn't even know I was depressed. It wasn't until afterwards where I was like, oh, like I was in a really, really dark space. And I started working with a sports psych my sophomore year. And it helped, but I wasn't just like consistently working on my mental health the way that I probably should have been. I didn't start doing that until midway through JUCO. I started working with a performance coach. And one of the biggest things that we talked about was just having tactics to deal with performance anxiety. And, when I would be in the game and I would literally freeze up. Like I would get the shakes, my heart would start beating crazy. And I would just be really, really, really nervous. And so I started working with him on how to manage that. Like when that anxiety came, what can you do? Can you deep breathe? Is there, some type of meditation? Is it repeating positive affirmations? Whatever it may be. We just gathered all these different tools to help in moments like that. And day by day, month by month, year by year now, I'm still working with I have a therapist, I have a mental performance coach. I talk to my dad about my mental health almost every day. Um, and I think now at 24, I can say the difference in me with a strong mind versus when I'm not is like night and day. It's night and day. And I have always spent so much time working on my craft physically on the court. And this past year was the first time that I put that same amount of work onto my mind. Um, and it's been super beneficial. It's been super beneficial. I encourage everybody to to work on their mind and work on their mental health because like you said, we're humans first and it's hard out here. Regular life is hard, but going to live in a small country, miles away from your family, isolated, where nobody speaks English, is double hard. So it's important that we spend that time on ourselves and spend time working on our mental health.
Absolutely. I just noticed you had a tattoo. I was like, what's this
Yeah,
say?
yes. And it says story. My dad and my siblings and I were all supposed to get this matching tattoo. It says, someone has to be the strongest person alive, so it may as well be me. And that is a quote that my dad preached to all of us. Three out of five of us have the matching tattoo. I'm still waiting on my older siblings to get with the program.
To get with
But they need to get with the program because we were all supposed to be in on this and they dodged it. But it is probably my favorite tattoo. So and it's kind of a testament to what you just said. Like mental health is important. It's a grind. It's tough, but may as well get through it. Like I'm strong enough to get through it. So
and there's times I feel like, there's always that strong friend, and then there's times like, when's the last time you checked on your strong, happy friend to make sure that they're okay?
yeah. Uh I've probably always been the strong friend or the always has it together friend. And most days I am like, my brain is like this, like going crazy. Fortunately, I do have enough people in my circle that will check on me and that are there for me, no matter what. So that is a blessing. But absolutely check on your strong friends because if you think they got it all together, I promise you they don't. They absolutely do not.
Ooh, cause girl, it's like I know that experience of being a strong, happy friend. Like, please check on me.
Yeah.
Please make sure I'm okay. Cause
Please, I'm crying for help. Notice
like,
me.
please, like, it's like, have you asked me if I'm okay? Like, who checked on me? Like, I mean, I don't mind checking on people. That's my, I
Mm-hmm.
that's my thing. I'm just that just because I always want to see somebody happy. I want to make sure they're good. Like
Yeah.
that's the importance of being empathetic. Like
Hmm.
just you know choose kindness. Be
Yeah.
kind. It costs
Just,
nothing to be kind, y'all.
yeah. Just you never know what folks are going through. You never know like how your act of kindness could totally flip somebody's day.
Hmm.
Um, there have been times where like I have just been having a terrible, terrible, terrible day, and someone will do the smallest. It could be a complete stranger, and they'll say the smallest little thing. Oh, I like your shoes, and I'll be like, you know what? Thanks, girl. That was so nice of you. Da. And now my mind is going in a whole different direction, like this. So yeah, you're right. It's free to be kind. Um, we're in a time where the world is crazy. There's a lot going on, and more now than ever do we need to be kind to the person next to us. So
Cause Lord knows. Woo.
Lord knows. Lord knows.
So I just seen that you released the news about you know you starting up a podcast. And can you let us know like what's the origin and inspiration behind you releasing a podcast?
Yeah. So it's called the Coach's Kid podcast. Um and it started, the thought came to me. I was in the gym and I was working out and I was just thinking about all of the little experiences and lessons that I have learned along this journey. And I was like, someone needs to be talking about this. Like, I need to share this with the people around me. And my perspective has always been of a coach's kid. My dad coached professional basketball, like I said, for 20 plus years. He still works with professionals and with kids currently. Um, and he is my biggest supporter, but he is also my toughest critic. And our dynamic and our relationship is so unique just from that point of view alone. He you know, I know if anybody has my back, he has my back. If anybody believes in me, he believes in me. But when I tell you that man has had me stressed, ready to pull my hair out, crying, like, you're not my dad, like all of it. Like I'm just like, nobody has made me more angry than my dad to this day. And so I was like, it's probably a lot of people who experience that, whether it's on the court or, maybe want to go to medical school and your parent is a doctor and they're on you about your grades, or you're trying to get into the music industry and your parent is a musician and they're on you about how you perform, or sports, anything. Like we all have that person in our life who has been pushing us, pushing us, pushing us. But at the end of the day, they only want what's best for you. Um, and I was like, that's just not something that people are talking about, but that's something that we all experienced. So that's what we're talking about. It's gonna be therapeutic for me and my father, probably. Hopefully relatable and helpful and encouraging to parents and children who may be going through the same thing or have experienced the same thing. Uh, and we just want to be able to tell our story and hopefully help others. Like um, that car ride home when you have a terrible game is deadly. It's deadly. Like you just played bad. Your mom or your dad is standing there with that look on their face. Now you got a 20-30 minute car ride home of getting cussed out. Like, how do we deal with that? Does it have to be that way? Can it be, looked at differently? Um, so yeah, that's what it's gonna be about. I'm excited. My dad's excited. Hopefully everyone else is excited. I think it'll be a fun listen. So yeah, the Coach's Kid podcast. It'll be here in January 2026.
Awesome. That we here for it. So
Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna do interviews, we're gonna bring people on the show, um, answer questions, all type of stuff. So it's gonna be cool.
I know that's right. You better let them know too.
Yeah, yeah, tune in.
So my question for you is: if there was a word or phrase to describe your journey, what would it be?
Good question. Uh, to describe my journey. Oh, that is tough. To describe my journey. Um, I would say powerful. And I would say my journey has been powerful because it has taught me so much about myself that I mean, I don't know. I don't know how else I would know the things I know about myself without going through what I have been through. I would certainly not be the person I am had I not gone through some of my experiences. So it's made me a more of a powerful being. It's taught me a lot of powerful lessons. It's put a lot of powerful relationships in my life. So I would say my journey in one word has been powerful.
Ooh, you better let them know, ma'am.
That's the T.
Let
It's
me
been powerful.
like my little mother fan.
Yeah, it's been powerful. It's been powerful.
So I always ask my guests this question because Bonafide means authentic and unique. So what makes Miss Sydney Wright Bonafide, and what makes your story stands out?
What makes my story stand out is I think my story is unique in the sense where we I never like grew up with anything handed to me, and a lot of people can say that and a lot of people have experienced that, but we were always in a situation because of my dad and what he did to where people kind of looked at us a little bit differently and not in the way that you would think. A lot of people assume that I had it easier because of my father and what he had and his success, but it was honestly always the opposite. People were always trying to figure out how they could bring me down because of what he had going on. And despite that, I just always found a way. Like I have always figured out how to come out on top of tough situations. And it's always been that. Like when I think about at you every step, no step where anything was just handed to me or where I was on the right side of politics. Like I've always been the short end of the stick, got to figure it out. How am I going to make this work? How am I going to get out on top? How am I going to get better? And I'm still here. I'm still here trying to figure it out. So I think that's why my story is unique. I think that's why I'm bona fide. Um, and yeah, that's what I would have to say for that.
Oh, that's real. That's real.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a journey, and it still is. I mean, the journey's still going. I still feel like I'm so young and early in my career. There's so much more I want to see, so much more I want to do. Um, so yeah, I'm still writing it, still writing my chapters, still writing my story. And it'll be a fun one to tell when it's all said and done.
And we here for it.
We're here for it. I
Yes.
can't wait. I
So, Miss
can't wait.
Sydney, can you let the viewers know how, where they can follow you and support you, and if there's any upcoming events happening?
Yes. So you can follow my Instagram at Sydney Wright. Two S's for Sydney, SSYDNEY, right. Um, on Instagram, on TikTok, I'm always posting. I'm trying to share my story and my day-to-day life because I pray it will help someone else who may be going through a similar thing to me. Like I said, the Coach's Kid podcast coming January 2026. You can follow us on IG at the Coach's Kid Pod. We will be having a YouTube channel coming soon, so we'll be looking for all the subscriptions on that. And yeah, so stay tuned, follow me, interact with me. I'm here for the people.
Y'all heard it from the queen here first. Y'all be sure to follow Miss Sydney Wright with 2 S's in the
Two
beginning.
S's.
And be sure to follow the Coach's Kid. She just released the page for it, so be sure to follow it.
Yes,
So,
yes.
So big shout out to Miss Sydney Wright for coming on the podcast to share your story. Big shout out to everybody that tuned in. Y'all can be sure to check out the live replay of Bonafide podcast episode 188 featuring Sydney Wright. Thank you guys for tuning in.